this is our last story here. This is one that I saw, and let me tell you, I popped off big time, because this is what I've been preaching for Sony to do this entire time, instead of wasting their time on virtual reality again. But anyway, this article over from Bloomberg states that Sony is working on a handheld console for PS5 games to rival the Switch. And it's by Takashi Mochizuki and Debbie Wu. And the article goes as follows. It says, Sony Group Corp is in the early stages of developing a portable console that would play its PlayStation 5 games on the move. The product is aimed at expanding Sony's reach and contending with Nintendo for the portable gaming market, according to people familiar with its development. It would also counter any potential mobile hardware from Xbox maker Microsoft, which is working on prototypes in the category as well. Sony's portable device is likely years away from launch, and the company could still decide against bringing it to market. Don't do that. Bring it out, please. The people said,
please,
asking not to be named, discussing private plans. The idea builds on the PlayStation Portal, an 8-inch handheld device Sony released in 2023 that allows users to play PS5 games by streaming them over the internet. Tokyo-based Sony initially had intended for it to function as a standalone device like Valve's Steam Deck, people said. Building a mobile device that's capable of directly playing PS5 games would potentially make Sony's software more accessible and appealing to a wider audience. The company has taken several steps in recent times in that direction, including making a bigger push into mobile and PC games, as well as live service titles. A Sony spokeswoman declined to comment on the matter. Jeremy, I can't tell you how many months/years I was saying that Sony should have just worked on a new portable system at this point. I said way back, maybe 2019, that the second that Sony saw that the Switch was successful is when they should have said, oh, people still want this, and we can do this, and we've done this, and we've done this very well in the past. So there's no reason why we can't do it again. And I think that they got gun shy and decided to try to pivot and see if there's something else that they could only do in their niche. And that's how we got PlayStation VR, which the first one was good. It was fun, but it was limited, right? But I feel like had they, knuckled up and done that push to bring out this portable hardware, we'd have a much more interesting situation with, I feel like that would have spurred Nintendo to bring out whatever this new hardware is way faster than they're doing now, because they would have had to keep up. They would have gotten steamrolled. But yeah, no, I've always said that I wish that they would have taken the resources that they use for PSVR and put it into essentially what is, I even said, you know what, call it PSP2, because I'm dead serious about it, because everybody knows, well, most people know what PSP is, right? They know PSP is PlayStation Portable. It's not PlayStation Portal. I don't want to hear that.
Are people saying that?
Yes, people are trying to use the PSP.
Is actually PlayStation.
That is not what that acronym is. But you already have that built-in branding with the acronym. So just use it and say that this is the new PlayStation Portable. And I'm glad that they're finally, acknowledging that this is something that we need to look into, and hopefully it does come to market. Fingers crossed, because I will be there day one to buy one if it does. But yeah, no, this news had me stoked. I don't know if you were able to find this out before, but how you feeling?
So the PlayStation Portal, let's talk about that for a second, because that's a really interesting piece of technology that I don't quite understand. Mm-hmm. But it used to be that you could only stream your PS5 games to it if you were on the same Wi-Fi.
Right.
But then they updated the thing like on the software level and it became a device that you could stream your PS5 library from across the world.
Yeah. I'm looking at one now.
You can do it. Yeah. So that is really weird to me. That like that functionality got that much, like progressed that much within the same device. Because at one point I had no interest in a PlayStation 4.
Zero.
But once that update hit, it changed my,
I want one.
It changed my idea.
I want one now.
I do. Yeah, right. Exactly. So that is to say how much I want a portable PlayStation console again. So much so that I almost bought a Portal for no reason. Like, because it doesn't. It's not really what we want, right? Like,
right.
It's not we want like a Vita. We want like the next evolution of the PSP and the Vita. I think the reason why they've stayed so far away from handhelds is because of the Vita, right? Like,
yeah, it burned them pretty
because
bad.
of how bad that. It flopped so bad, and they were so stupid about how they rolled that thing out, and like the pricing on it,
memory cards.
Yeah, it was a huge flop for them, and so I think it kept them well away from trying to compete in the portable space. But I think the Switch and the Steam Deck to some extent too did this weird thing in the market where they didn't just make it where like people like mobile gaming. People had to do mobile gaming. Like it became a thing that you just have to have because you're traveling, and a lot of people won't play a game if it's not mobile and on the go.
Ding ding ding, right here.
Yeah. So that means that for the majority of these people's lives, they're not playing Xbox home console. They're not playing PlayStation home console. So I think they're having to respond to this, and I think it's a good thing because man, the PSP and the PS Vita are stone cold killers.
Just marvelous hardware all the way through. Yeah, I cannot sing the praises, especially not only Vita, but like of PSP. I cannot sing the praises of that handheld enough. It is honestly, I remember looking at it like it was alien technology back in 2005, just because of what it could do. And the fact that it read those little discs and all that, it really honestly felt like something that was out of the future. And I know that this is the same company that made that before, and I know that they can do it again. And I know they have the resources and they have the reach for talent, and they have the eye and they have the know-how with technology to be able to strike, to have lightning strike again. And they just need to really hunker down and lock in. And I think that they can do it. So
I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Okay. It's about portable consoles versus home consoles. How do you feel about it being a portable PlayStation 5 and not its own thing? Because I feel like part of the charm of the PSP and charm of the PS Vita is that they're completely different libraries from what the home console was doing. But now that the Switch is just both, it's I sometimes miss the days of home console and then there's a 3DS.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think honestly it's inevitable. Right, there's no way you weren't gonna have to let this thing play current gen or I guess by the time it comes out, last gen level games. But I do think that there will be some way that it will have its own library, just because by the time this thing actually does come out, we probably will be in PS6 territory, and this thing is not playing PS6 games unless they are way scaled down.
Sure. Yeah.
So in that regard, it might end up having titles that are developed only for it. And also you would need a hook, because if the whole thing is just playing PS5 games, why wouldn't I just buy a Portal? I mean, you can have it native, but like if Portal's doing the same job, and like it might barely be a little bit less noticeable because I actually have it on device versus streaming, you have to have a reason for me to want to get the actual unit. And
or I wonder if that's how they're gonna roll this out. Is they're gonna make it a part of the Portal line, and this will just basically be a more expensive Portal.
that might be the best way to do it then. If it's only going to play like PS5 games and not have its own library, I would probably, honestly, that's pretty smart. I would frame it that way of like, oh, this is the offline. Or this is the new Portal. So you can play the games streaming, or you can download them to the Portal itself. Maybe like a Portal 2.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe that might be what they call it, or, somewhere in that vein. And I wouldn't be mad about that.
Yeah, I mean, that is what I want. I mean, that is something I want,
Mm-hmm.
and then it could be a thing where, it's kind of your choice, like how you do it the Switch. Like some games I want to play on a big TV, like a Zelda, but then some games I want to play handheld, like smaller games.
Right. Do you think it's going to be its own thing, or do you think it's going to have a dock? Or do you think they're going to want you to buy a straight up PS5?
Oh, interesting.
Like if you want to play it on the TV, you're going to buy a PS5. But you buy one game, and like how cross-buy used to be, you buy one game and you get it on big PS5 and you get it on the handheld too.
That's so interesting. Yeah. Do I think there'll be a dock? If it's its own console, it will probably come with a dock. Yeah. I would think. Yeah. Especially if it's its own console where you could like buy games and then have your account and like store them locally. You know? I mean, then I think you should have a dock, because not everyone who's going to buy this is going to own a PS5
at the same time. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
but I don't know. Maybe they'll make it mandatory you have to own a PS5 to own this.
I wouldn't put it past Sony, because they've made a lot of bonehead decisions like that too before.
I know.
So
that wouldn't be smart. But
let's just hope they figure this out and it comes to market one day, and then we can look back and be like, Jeremy, remember when this was just a rumor? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh man, it would be great.
Yeah,
it would be great to get another Sony handheld.
There's a timeline out there where it happens. Let's hope it's ours.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching that clip from our podcast. Remember, if you want to watch the full episode, link will be in the description below. You can click on that and check it out. We got listener questions. We got more news segments. We got what you playing. We got a lot of fun things. So yeah, more than just the news. There's a lot more to the show that you should go check out. So remember, click that link in the description. Check out that full episode.